And there we are. We are live. Midweek edition of the TigerBait live show. Glad to be with you guys tonight. Of course, a night early because of LSU baseball. Again, another Thursday, Friday, Saturday slate for LSU baseball this week. Doing this show alone. Buddy Sanji's taking the night off. I think he might be back next week. We'll see. But we got a lot to cover. Big spring game coming up on Saturday. And nasty, nasty weather right now. We're supposed to have access tomorrow for practice. We'll talk about the rest of the week for football. We can talk LSU baseball. We can talk football, recruiting. I think we got a lot of things we can get to tonight, new NCAA rules. So I'm going to wait for a lot of you guys to go on and get here inside the chat tonight. And if you got any questions, I'm going to try to get to as many of them as I can. I think we're going to do a little bit more focus on football recruiting. So do me a favor, if you would, as always, hit the like button on our videos. Please hit the share button as well. And whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, if you hit the notification bell on YouTube, you'll get alerted every time we go live. We're probably going to do a live show, Preston and I, from Tiger Stadium after the spring game as soon as we get our stories logged. So we'll have that for you guys. And we'll have We'll have that. We'll have all our post-game stories, video, player interviews after the game. Coach Ed Orgeron. We'll have an analysis feature that evening and on Sunday. I'll be giving my tidbits and my thoughts on the TigerBait premium board throughout the game during our live chat. So we're going to have that all for you on Saturday at the spring game. Hopefully this nasty weather clears out. And, of course, as always, our show every week is brought to you by Pride Roofing, the fantastic guys over there at Pride Roofing. And look, I know a lot of people got hit with hail this morning. If you think you have any issues with hail damage, please give Pride Roofing a call, 225-275-2041. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. And if you do that, just for getting a free roofing inspection, they're going to give you 1 year of TigerBait.com premium for free. So jump all over that deal. Hopefully none of you's had too much damage, but if you did, Pride Roofing are the folks to call. I'll talk a little bit more about them later in the show. Again, please do me a favor, hit the like button, share this video on your Facebook timeline right now so we can get a bunch of guys participating in our chat. Very much appreciative. Before we went live tonight, one of the guys that I went and scouted last year, who I know Ed Orgeron recruited very heavily, Jaheim Otis from Columbia, Mississippi, the big defensive lineman, announced his commitment to Alabama. And, man, that's a big one. You know, LSU recruited him the year before, McKinley Jackson. Of course, McKinley Jackson was a big part of, as a freshman, of Texas A&M's defensive front. So Ed Orgeron has recruited both those guys, but Otis commits to Alabama tonight. And, man, he's a beast. You know, because of COVID and the Louisiana high school football season getting cranked up late last year, I booked it to Mississippi for several weeks for high school games to see recruits that LSU was recruiting, and Jaheim was one of them. Just a beast. Can clog up the middle, can run, mean streak. And so Nick Saban gets a big defensive lineman that LSU is going to have to face now in the coming years. So, and that starts things off. Bayou Bengal Mike, any new commitments on the horizon? You know what? I think that I don't think we're going to be waiting long for some news for LSU. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. Brian Anipin, good evening, Mike, from the border of South Carolina. Any word on Gilbert? No word on him. But I think, you know, just based on the info that I got back in December and run through all the scenarios, I just have always maintained that his best shot to get where he needs to be and move forward in his career is at LSU. And I don't know what his transcript looks like. I don't know what his grade point average was at the end of last fall. I don't know what he's been doing academically through these spring months. I don't know how many hours he's going to need to have in order to be eligible to play in the fall. There's a lot of other things that he's got to do off the field as a person to get right. So, but it would just seem to me that assuming he finished out last semester okay, which even that's in doubt. I don't know what his grade point average was, and there's a lot of people guessing on message boards, and I'm not going to take any of that as gospel. He's got a lot of work to do, and I don't know that a summer school and intersession is going to be enough. Maybe it will be. We're going to find out, but we'll see how it plays out. I know LSU is just, kept the welcome wagon open for him to come back, and I think it's been a positive. So we'll see how it plays out for him. Let me get some more of your calls. Yeah, Blaine. Good evening, Mike. Hope everyone's safe through this crazy weather. No doubt. It's I tell you, right before I went live, it got crazy in here. But I know one thing where I've been situated. Other than my Cox issues here and there, I seem to fare pretty darn well with my weather and keeping my electricity. So, by the way, I just want to give a heartfelt regards and rest in peace and thoughts and prayers out for the LSU student. They found her body in the Mississippi River, and just really heartbreaking. But it's kind of one of those things where if you've seen enough of these, you kind of figured that that's where it might go. But they found Corey Goche, so thoughts and prayers to her, LSU student, and that's really heartbreaking, that one there. So thoughts and prayers out to her family and all her loved ones and all her friends. Let's see. Blaine Smith, next player to commit, your prediction. I don't want to do that, because if I do that, I'll just say that I don't think we're going to be waiting several months or a month or over the weekend. I don't think we're going to be too long with LSU getting some big news. So let's see. Mark Chambers, LSU wins Saturday. I think that's pretty much the case. One thing about spring football games, and people get upset with me for saying it, but they're usually unremarkable. They're usually pretty darn boring. The main thing you want at a spring football game is you don't want to see any of the trainers out on the field and pulling somebody off on a cart or limping off. If you get through that day without any of that, it's been a very, very positive day. So, we have access to practice tomorrow, the media. I don't know, I haven't looked at the weather map, but based on what it's like right now, I have my doubts that we're going to be able to see that. If they go indoors due to weather, then the media doesn't get their access. So then we'll have to wait on Saturday. I think, 50-50, noon on Saturday for weather. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm a lot of big things that I want to see on Saturday. Really just, look, there's the sideline stuff that you want to see how they operate. I want to see who's in the press box calling plays. I want to see who's down on the field. I want to see how adept they are at getting plays in on time. I mean, that's still stuff that you have to do and have a pretty good idea of what you need to work on the offseason. So that's something to watch out for. Of course, we all want to see how the quarterbacks throw the football. I want to see the defensive line. I want to see how the defensive backs perform. I want to see Jay Ward, Devonta Lee. I think there's a lot that we're going to have to chew on Saturday. But like Ed Orgeron said yesterday with us, he's going to want to keep it pretty simple because he knows UCLA is watching, but he also wants to do enough for the players to get something out of it. I've always thought personally that because of what the spring games have turned into, they probably just ought to have an extra scrimmage and end the season there and have it closed and get the work in. But these things are made for TV. The SEC network pays for them, and they'll probably re-air the LSU spring game 35 times between now and August. Yeah, O said running backs are hurt. Who will be the backs? That's going to be very interesting to see that rotation, no doubt. Bruce Steele heard a tackle prospect might commit this weekend. We'll see on that. Who committed to Alabama? Kenny Russell. That was Jaheim Otis, the big defensive tackle from Columbia, Mississippi. Huge kid. Went and filmed him last September. Just a beast of a kid. he's been kind of quiet on the LSU front for a while, but that one I think stings a bit. Orgeron's been recruiting him for several years, but he's also a kid that a lot of schools have been on since he was a 7th and 8th grader. So, Are You Serious Sports? Mike Scarborough, everyone else, Are You Serious? That's our buddy Blake Ruffino. Do me a favor, go to his, I was on with Blake Monday night, had a great show with him. Go to his YouTube channel and subscribe. Of course, he's live on Facebook and live on YouTube, but I think it'll really help him if you can go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button on Are You Serious on his channel. Want to get him over 1,000 subscribers as soon as he can get there. Let's see. Bring a poncho on Saturday. Let's see. Josh Beck, Big Mike knows his stuff. I try, Josh. Josh Beck. See, I don't have my glasses on. And by the way, someone gave me a little hard time for making my little noises as I scroll through your deal, so I'm going to try not to do that. Will the spring game be televised? Yes, it will, Larry. It will be SEC Plus. So find that on your Roku or on your laptop or iPad. Any device you can watch that. Carl Dunn, nice job, Mike. Gerard Bryant, hey, Mike, can you? Fill in the rest for me, Gerard. Gerard's with us every week, good guy. Shannon Williams says AYS is a great show. And Blake says, thanks for giving him the plug, of course. Josh Beck, Ward might be the best safety in the SC. Watch and see. There's been a lot of positive word on Jay Ward and what he's looked like through spring football. That is one of the guys that I really want to see. You know, some other news that we got today was that the NCAA is going to allow for a one-time transfer rule. We can talk about that. You know, years ago, if you would have asked me my opinion of that, I would have said, heck no, I don't believe in it. And I think as the years have gone by and I've seen some of the things I've seen in the way that, you know, the way a lot of kids get locked in, whereas coaches aren't, I'm okay with it. You can basically say it's college football's version of free agency. The only thing that I worry about the one-time transfer rule with no penalty is tampering. And I don't know if they're going to institute any new rules on tampering, but boy, it sure seems like that really sets the table for some schools in like a position like LSU or in any of the Power 5 leagues when they have a position to really, you know, keep an eye out, whether it be for, you know, your mid-major conferences, they're all conference offensive linemen, whatever it might be. And if there's a relationship there with somebody on a college staff with that kid's high school, they can get word out that, hey, we got a need. He can transfer in and play right away. You know, I wonder how widespread it's going to be. And I think a few years from now, we're going to see, hey, whether it was a good idea, a bad idea, or what additional legislation or rules that they're going to need to put on top of that. Because I could see where that could certainly be abused. I could certainly see where a guy like Nick Saban is going to look at every word and syntax and verb and in that to work around that. Of course, at the same time, at the clip he's recruiting, it's not often that he's going to have very, very big pressing needs. But still, you're going to have to do your due diligence and really know that rule if you're LSU. Kenneth Haynes, 2 days, Mike. Yeah, 2 days. What? Till what? Give me the heads up. Gerard Bryant, hey Mike, can you tell me if this offense will go with hurry up and tempo this fall? I think no doubt they will. Jake Peets is going to do similar things that Joe Brady. Without a doubt, they're going to do that. I think it's going to depend on down and distance, of course, time on the clock. You know, but no doubt they're going to go tempo. Mark Chambers, baseball still on life support. Well, those 2 wins for Paul Maneri were huge in Lexington, no doubt. Of course, now you got the Gamecocks on tap. We got the Grambling game. Got word that's been rescheduled for 4 p.m. on Tuesday, April 27th. Are we about to see LSU make a run here and Paul Maneri make this season more palatable for LSU fans? I have my doubts, but no doubt about it, those 2 wins in Lexington were big for him. He's going to need to win every midweek game, and he's going to have to sneak up on somebody and that he's not supposed to and win a series or even get a sweep with somebody to really get things going, I think. Bayou Bengal Mike, do you think we are the leader for tight end Jake Johnson? I very much do. And of course, he's Max's brother, arguably the top tight end in the nation. No doubt about it. And he can flat out run. So, Carl Dunn, how are they looking on special teams? That I do not know. That's something we're going to see on Saturday. So, I want to see Peyton Todd punt the football in Tiger Stadium. That's another thing that we hardly even talk about, but I'm anxious to see the true freshman from West Monroe. Kenny Haynes, look above. Been sick 2 days with stomach virus. I blame Paul Maneri. Yeah, I tell you, this weather has got me popping Zyrtec and it's making everybody miserable, but hopefully you're feeling better, Kenny. Thunder Boomers just now. Yep. Yeah, Xavier Pinson getting the basketball transfer in from Missouri. Nice pickup for Will Wade. Averaged close to 14 points a game, 3 years experience in the league. Real nice pickup. That again shows you what I was talking about last week, how Will Wade just seems to have, to be able to find guys when he's got a need in places that you would never think LSU could pull somebody or you didn't know they were in the picture. I was reading one of the Kansas blogs. They didn't even know LSU was in the mix for him, and lo and behold, he commits to LSU. Hell of a job by Will Wade. So there you go on that one. Esteban in the house. Go Tigers, looking forward to Saturday, ready to see how much improvement our boys are going to do so far. Me too. I hope the weather's real nice. I got a buddy of mine I talked to today, says he's bringing a Cub Scout troop to the game on Saturday, and they're going to cook out before and do all that. And, and I think that's a big deal. You got 50% capacity, so if you get 50% in there and it's a beautiful day, that'd be one of your all-time biggest, it would be the biggest spring game attendance for LSU. If the sun's shining and what we've been dealing with for the last year, I think people are going to be ready to go out there regardless of whether the game's boring or not, just to be amongst a big crowd and get some sun on your legs and everything else. So hopefully the weather gets nice and there's no injuries and it'll be a great day for LSU football. Shannon Williams says, beautiful here in Missouri, 60 day without a cloud in the sky. Boy, it's downright nasty here. Kenny Russell, Mike, do you believe LSU will finish with the top 3 recruiting class? I do. I really do. I think with what's on the board, Emory Jones, Jake Johnson, and many others that LSU's recruiting, you got multiple kids in the state of Louisiana that LSU's in great shape for. I think Ed Orgeron's going to keep almost all of them home. And I think they're poised to have a top 3 recruiting class and possibly the #1 class in the country. So I don't think any of the Title IX, USA Today, Louisiana Senate hearings, I don't think any of that has had any bearing on LSU's ability to recruit. And based on my discussion with some recruits, parents, it's not on their radar, but certainly LSU needs to get the house in order and get all that stuff cleared up behind them, and all the stuff in place so all that kind of stuff never ever happens again. Caleb, hey Mike, any injury updates for the spring? No, not right now, but I think we're going to get. I'm sure we're going to get a synopsis from Ed Orgeron at the end of the spring game. We're going to talk to him, and then he'll probably give us an idea of what the first of all, what if there was any in the spring game, and then what going through the offseason, who they hope to get back, and what their situation is. But you've had Neil Farrell, you got the running backs that have been nicked up, so we'll see how that plays. That's another thing too, and talked about that the other night. Really want to see something from some of those offensive linemen that we seem to, we're not picking on them, but this is, to me, going into the spring, we talk about what are some of the big things that you're looking for. I think certainly wanted to see something for those three offensive linemen, Bradford, Thomas Perry, Cardell Thomas. Haven't heard anything on the two, Perry and Thomas. What might those guys look like on Saturday? I want to see, because I think, look, if they didn't make a move this spring, you're talking about a big recruiting class of offensive linemen. Could be as many as 5 or 6 for the class of 22. If you don't make a plant the flag and say you're a guy for the future now, then you're just going to get recruited over. So I'm anxious to see what Cardell Thomas and Thomas Perry look like on Saturday. I know Bradford is going to be a guy, and what they've been saying all along, of those three, Bradford was most likely the guy that they could count on in the coming years. So Esteban says Ali Gay is out. Logan in a gold jersey. So, yeah. But let's see who's actually participating, who they hold out on Saturday. A guy like, Logan, you know what these guys can do. They've been there forever. They've come back for an extra year. Don't use them if you don't need to. Richard Sinnett, how do we stand with Kendrick Law? Good question. I need to reach out to Kendrick. I have not talked to him in a while. Certainly, I went and filmed them in their playoff loss at East Ascension, and fantastic athlete. Awful muddy field in Gonzales that night, and but he's an athlete that can play on both sides of the ball. I know the debate's been whether he's a slot receiver or is he a defensive back. I think he's a defensive back at the next level, you just gave me an assignment. I need to reach out to Kendrick and see what's going on there. Joel Cunningham, Orgeron still can't beat Saban head-to-head in recruiting. Yeah, and I can't see Joel. Is that a big A on your hat? I don't have my glasses on, so is Joel coming in here to rub Jaheim Otis in LSU's faces? He might be having a little fun with us tonight. But yeah, no, that is a big pickup. Like I said earlier, I saw Jaheim last football season, and he's a beast. He's a beast. One of them big stature kids that Alabama always seems to get. And I know Orgeron recruited the heck out of him. We've all seen the photo of Orgeron and him walking at midfield during the national championship season after one of those games. Orgeron certainly put in the work. I wonder, though, too, with him, if this is a case where maybe losing Christian Lockator to the private sector, if that might have been a factor with Otis, because I know Christian Lockator was involved with trying to recruit him to LSU. But I don't know that. I'll ask around on that, but that just might be a deal. Let's see. Ronald John Elias. Do you think the NCAA will get involved on Title IX? No, I don't. I think LSU's got everything that they got done that they're going to need to get. They're going to take care of it. I believe Galligan when he says he's going to install all those 18 bullet points, and so we're going to see if he does indeed do that. Blaine, you asked about Sage Ryan. Anything in particular? Let's see. Yeah, I heard LSU offered a freshman defensive back. They sure did, and reached out to him yesterday. And from Warren Easton, big time kid, and it's just amazing when we're already talking about the class of 2024. I still haven't finished up my initial rankings for 22, but Wallace Foster, what is he, about 5'11", 6 foot, 180. Cornerback got the offer, and like I said in my post on the site 2 days ago, typical for LSU that one of your first offers for a guy who just finished his freshman year in high school, that it's a defensive back. So now you've got 2 offers in the state of Louisiana for the class of 2024, and they're both from New Orleans. So there's going to be more to come. We're going to have the dead period end at midnight on May 31st. June and July are going to be absolutely bonkers. Camps, unofficial, official visits. And I think you're going to have a lot of recruits at the spring game on Saturday. It's going to be, even though it's a dead period, it's like last season where recruits can come on their own dime. Well, the spring game's free, so they can just walk right in the state, and they just can't have any contact or conversation with LSU staff or coaches. So we're looking on that. Let's see, guys. Let me get some. Charles Duncan, what do you think happens with the Our Lady of the Lake stuff? Don't know. I don't know what comes first. Will Wade's meeting and them ruling on him before LSU football's self-imposed 8 scholarships is handled or go ahead and accepted by the NCAA. Everything that I got last year was that the Will Wade tapes and the HBO thing threw a monkey wrench into LSU getting the Our Lady of the Lake stuff put behind them. So I think once one of them gets settled, then the other one will be right behind it. Let's see. Chase Meyers, is it true that LSU has lost ground with Shemar Stewart? Look, that's always going to be a battle for him. You're talking about a kid who's got offers from the who's who in college football, out-of-state kid. They're going to keep recruiting him. The big deal this summer is to see who comes to camp and when these visits start getting scheduled, just get the visit and then you can make up some ground. So camps are going to be absolutely huge this summer. And to me, that's what the staff is doing right now. I'm talking a lot of recruits, and they're already telling me that the coaches, without knowing the dates of the camps, are already inviting kids to come. So need to have a big camp. But, we look at this. We're losing the sun. Really want to see what the, how it's going to be done with the camps. Is there going to be some COVID restrictions on that, on how many guys they allow to come? Because I know they're going to want to, first of all, it's a money maker for the program, but certainly you want to have, the 400 number that you can get for your elite camp and so forth. Carl Dunn asked that question. Yeah, I do think the camps will go off this summer without any problems. By the way, guys, I want to talk about Pride Roofing, hail damage. If you suffered some today, give Pride Roofing a call. They just cued me by knocking their sign down. 275-2041. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, super guys. LSU grad, Mike Faraday. Best labor warranty on your roof. If they come out and give you, and it's not just residential, it's commercial as well. And if you're anywhere from Sulphur, Louisiana to Mobile, Alabama, they've got you covered, all the way to Jackson, Mississippi. Anywhere in South Louisiana, if you need your roof inspected, if you suffered any hail damage today, or you're just thinking, you're towards the end of the lifespan of your roof, give them a call, get an idea of what it's going to cost you in the future. And by saying TigerBait, when you call that 275-2041 number, you say TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have free TigerBait premium for a year. You cannot beat that deal. Everything's free. The free inspection, which they'll deal with your insurance adjuster if you have damage on your roof. Give them a call. Better Business Bureau A+ rated. They've got enough shingles in that yard for over 150 roofs. They make all their own flashing in-house. There's no builder grade stuff that they use on your roof at all. And I'm told that a lot of the roofing companies in the area, if they give you a quote and they get the go-ahead from your insurance, it can be up to 2 months before they finally get out there and get your old roof taken off and a new roof put on. With Pride, they can have it done in 2 weeks. It's amazing the job that they've done and how well they've grown their company. Just built a new shop in Mobile. They're in Gulfport. Of course, the main headquarters is in Albany, Louisiana. And so Sulphur, Lake Charles, all throughout South Louisiana, they've got you covered. Pride Roofing. And like I said, you cannot beat that free roof inspection. Simply say TigerBait.com, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a whole year. So give them a call and very much appreciated. Also, you guys do me a favor. Hit the like button, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Very much appreciative if you'll share this video. And all the rest of you too. We really want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait.com. Go to the website. Check us out. $1, you can try us out for a week. And I also say always, choose the annual package. It saves you 3 months when you choose the annual. I want you guys to get the best deal. So choose the annual so that way it's less money for you to be a TigerBait subscriber. I'm on our message board day and night. We've got a great group of guys. Not a whole lot of junk on our message board. Guys fighting and cussing at each other. So we've got that covered for you at TigerBait. You'll get our newsletters, our text alert for breaking news. And I think there's going to be a lot of breaking news coming real soon. So when that happens, you get it first. It's going straight to your cell phone with a link to the story or a link to the site while we're getting the story up. And so we've got it all for you at TigerBait. We're going to have all our analysis for the spring game. We'll have that all for you on Saturday. Let's see. Let me get to some more of your questions. Charles Duncan, why won't a snake attack Glenn Guilbeau? Professional courtesy. Yes. You guys love to pick on Glenn Guilbeau, but I think Glenn relishes everybody dropping his name. Let's see. Booked my flight and hotels for UCLA, 4 miles from the Rose Bowl, nonstop out of New Orleans. I think a lot of LSU fans are going to make that trip. You're going one of the biggest, most I don't know, historic venues in college football, and of course I don't know what the how you would rate a trip to Los Angeles, meals, hotel expense. Is that one of the more expensive places in America? I'm assuming it would be with all the taxes they've got in that state. Let's see. I mean, what is a hotel room there? About $225, $250 a night for a cheap one, and then probably the taxes get you to $300. They probably add another $50 in taxes. Of course, that happens in New Orleans too. Let's see. Esteban, where's PG been at? Preston Guy. Oh, he's going to be with us Saturday. We're going to do a post-game show on Saturday. Preston is still very much with TigerBait, and he'll be dropping his post-game story on Saturday. Preston is primarily football and helps me in recruiting. So he's with us in a big way during football season. But yeah, he will be covering the spring game for us. Myself, Brian Lazar, and Preston will all be in Tiger Stadium Saturday. So we're going to have a lot of stuff for you. All right, guys. Let's see. Yeah, Wesley Nettles. What's up with Jarrell Cherry? A lot of hype when he was recruited. Yeah. Look, I talking to some guys in Texas that I respect that have seen it, that saw him play in high school, said that he was kind of a tweener guy. That was maybe a bit of a sleeper candidate guy that you would might need some work and unsure. And I think that's kind of, they probably pretty much nailed him. Haven't heard a whole lot of his name being dropped. There's a lot of guys that I would have liked to have heard their name dropped by Ed Orgeron and all of our press conferences with him. That we haven't had that been able to do that. So. Kenny Russell, the way LSU has been recruiting the last few years, top 5 classes, our expectations for wins should be no lower than 10 plus wins 10 plus wins year in and year out. Kenny, I think you're right. I think that's why this team is hungry. Last season, even though it was a COVID season, and we all wanted football any way we could get it. Huge hangover. coaches loss, just a brutal season. But I think there's a big hunger in that building. A lot of football players that find it is that season is unacceptable as the fan base. And I think that's why you had all those guys take the free year and come back, because they want to redeem themselves. I really believe that. So, and I think Ed Orgeron's got some really good coaches that he's plugged in to get it going. I think the schedule works in LSU's favor. You get Auburn, Texas A&M, and Florida at home, Alabama on the road. If you're going to knock Alabama off, I always like when LSU plays in Tuscaloosa. But I'm not going any less than 10-2. I'm saying that right now, unless there's a rash of injuries or something unforeseen that I'm aware of right now. So I'm at 10-2 minimum. I'm not even contemplating a 9-3. I like the schedule. I like what LSU's got returning. I think the defensive line, if they stay healthy with all the bodies they've got there and guys that they can rotate in and out through a football game, LSU's defensive front is going to, I think, can have some really key stops in fourth quarters to win some football games because of the number of defensive linemen, and very good ones at that, mixed in with some new guys like Mason Smith. I think it's going to be fantastic. And then you add Savion Jones. You know, even though he's not there in the spring, wasn't a midterm grad, might he be a kid that comes on like gangbusters and is ready to go earlier than we all think. You know, I had him just a notch ahead of Mason Smith in my final rankings. And but I think Mason is probably more ready to play now, and certainly he benefits from being there in spring football. But I think 2 or 3 years from now, Savion Jones is going to be an absolute beast. You know, body-wise, he's a guy in between Jadeveon Clowney and Barkevious Mingo. He's that special of a kid. Went out to St. James several times last season, and it's just the sky's the limit for him. So much unrealized potential, and I wonder how big he's going to be in a year. He arrives in June. What might he look like body-wise from when he arrives at LSU in June to next August? I think it's going to be staggering. He's just got that kind of build. He's got the kind of build that if he puts on 10 pounds, you're not even going to notice it. Just because he's just got long limbs, long legs, can flat out run. One of the games I filmed him, it was Sterlington, and they got a big lead on Sterlington. I think it was a playoff game, and there was a week before they went and lost to Church Point. And because Sterlington was obviously had to start throwing the football, they just let him loose. And I put together a highlight tape on TigerBait. You can go check that out on his profile. I mean, just him coming off the edge on every play because Sterlington was in obvious passing situations. It was fun watching him, even though when he didn't get to the quarterback, just the motor on him. And so I love the guy. That pretty much, that night sealed the deal for me that I was going to make him number one in Louisiana. And I kind of thought that going into that night, and I just wanted to confirm it. And then when I saw that, yeah. And you can go see that video on TigerBait. Go to the commitment list for last year. Click on his profile, and you can find it. Yeah, Mike Douillon. I love hearing about Joe Evans, no doubt. I hardly ever mention Joe Evans' name, and it's my bad. Orgeron loves him, brings him up all the time. He's another one that I really cannot wait to see this Saturday. Super kid, and we're going to see. Am I buying the hype? Look, I don't think Orgeron drops a kid's name as much as he drops Joe Evans. Look, you can drop names because you want to give a kid encouragement, and you want to let him know that you're, pushing for him. But it's so regular coming from Ed Orgeron that to me, I don't think it's hype. It's legit. So we're going to see. Charles Duncan, Mike is usually spot on with these players. I try to be. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on at TigerBait is to going out on weekends. I tell you what, I didn't have a single, there was one Friday night. In fact, it was when I went and saw Kendrick Law, East Ascension, and it was raining like it was right now, and I realized about second quarter, about 7:30, 8 o'clock, hey, it quit raining. And I jumped in my car and, of course, went straight up airline to Gonzales and was able to see his entire second half. But there was only one Friday night that I wasn't at a game all last season. Most Thursday nights I was at a game. So that's a lot of high school football between that, going to the trips to Mississippi, jamboree games, scrimmages, the practices I went to. You know, that's one thing we do at TigerBait. And then, of course, we send Preston out. I've got a couple other guys that will help video for me. We want to get video to you guys so you can actually see them. There's a big difference between the video we shoot and what you're going to see on HUDL, which is a highlight tape. When I go out and film a recruit, first of all, I'm using a much higher caliber video camera. I load their video up in full HD. If you blow it up on your big screen TV, it's going to look like a broadcast television, and you're going to see all the warts. I include the negative plays as well as the positive plays. So that's one of the things we pride at TigerBait, and that's why I think you guys will love a subscription if you're not already with us. Dane Bergeron, any news on our Gilbert? Is he a possibility of return? I do think he's a possibility, but the question is, what are the hoops he has to jump through in order to be eligible? Can he even get there to be eligible to play? I don't know what his transcript looks like, how many hours he needs to be academically eligible to play for a football season. And then there's the other stuff off the field that he's got to get right with himself. So we'll see how that plays out. Charles Duncan, we use HUDL a lot in officiating. Most of that HUDL film looks like it was shot with a Fisher-Price camera. I've been in some high school stadiums, and I don't want to throw any shade, but I mean, there's some high school stadiums that have a track around their football field, and then they've got a steep incline, and they're up there shooting with an iPhone on top of the press box. So on top of a press box, a concrete home side stadium, a track which gives you what? How many yards between your track, your sideline, and the field, shooting with an iPhone, and that's the kind of prospect video that's being uploaded to HUDL for you to try and figure out whether a guy's a good prospect or not. Some of it's staggering to me. All right, guys. I tell you what is my take on the tight end position? Look, I really liked what I saw out of Cole Taylor last week. I noticed the size that he's added to his frame. I liked some of the things that he did last season. Everybody talks about Gilbert and moaning and groaning about him, but I really like the way Gilbert looks. You know, you got the Mashburn kid, the walk-on, got the Sheed kid. We're going to see how that all pans out. And then, of course, Jack Besh, who I'm told they're not going to do the whole put weight on him and try to make a tight end out of him, but he will be lined up in the slot and can possibly do some H-back stuff with him. So we'll see what Jake Peets can come up with being a little thin at tight end. So, yeah, and then forgot about Nick Storrs. Thanks, Mike. You know, he's another one. But Orgeron really hasn't talked about him. There's so much to see. In fact, somebody needs to explain to me how to record to a DVR from, I don't even know if it's possible, is it? Because I'm going to want to rewatch the game. How do you DVR from SEC Network Plus when it's streaming? I don't know that you can. I'm sure there's a way. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Please, guys, please share this. Go to TigerBait, subscribe. Call Pride Roofing for your free roof inspection. Get free TigerBait. Share the video. Hit the like button, all that. We'll be back here on Saturday with our post game. Check out all our spring game coverage. We'll have all your baseball coverage from Alex Box as well, Brian Lazar at the South Carolina series. And stay tuned to TigerBait. I think you're going to have some news between now and Saturday. So I'll leave you guys with that. All right, guys. Good night. Thanks for being with me.